Where the fuck is Matt Damon? You just can't take the star and the drawing force for an espionage covert action series and change it every couple of films. Like, I mean, what if James Bond did that? Seriously, Sean Connery's aging process is fucking miraculous. Okay, so the Bourne Legacy. I tried to go in with this as open mind as I can. I'm absolutely in love with the original Bourne series. I think Matt Damon was perfect for that role, and I was really upset when I heard that he and Paul Greengrass would not be returning to the series. But I was happy when I found out that instead Tony Gilroy would be directing, because of the two other films he had directed. They were definitely in the similar style as the Bourne movies, and he had written on all of the other movies, and I do really like him as a screenwriter, so I was happy to hear that. And the trailers all looked very good. And while I have to say Jeremy Renner was very good, he definitely takes on the role very well, even though it's a new character. He still brings the same force and intensity that you would expect from a Bourne movie, and does it really well. And I did like the rest of the cast. Ed Norton, Rachel Weisz, Corey Stoll, to name some, and they are all very good. The problem is that while the story does give itself something to build off of, it is part of the story that was taken and started to be built up in the previous Bourne movie, so it's not like it's just bringing it out of thin air, because I hate when series drag on the series by just being like, oh, look, this happened again. Oh, well, you know, you thought Jason Bourne was cool, but in order to advertise this one, we have to make Aaron Cross sound even awesomer, but then it kind of, you know, diminishes some of the purpose of the previous movies, and I really don't like when movies do that. And that really doesn't happen that much here, because Black Briar was actually something developed in the previous movies, so it had the foundation to work off of, but the way it works off of it isn't really that great. It does create a story that is inviting to new viewers and old viewers, doesn't have the same slick, compelling nature that the other movies had. You really got invested in Bourne's character and the entire story, and were intrigued, and while you felt left out of huge chunks of information, it's almost a reason to keep going. Here, there are times where I just don't know what's going on, or, you know, you have no clue what's going on, which is something Tony Gilroy does very well, especially in Duplicity. And it just kind of gets more and more tedious after a while. That being said, there is still a lot of innovative action that is vital to the series. Jeremy Renner, who, you know, after the past couple years, he has really proved himself to be a good action hero, just being generally good in these types of roles. And I do like Tony Gilroy. I think that, you know, other directors handle his scripts better. You know, it happened with State of Play as well, where I think that he is a really great director, because the cinematography and the editing in this movie is top-notch. It's just, it's the way he translates his own stories onto screen. I love the way he directs. It's just there's this disconnect. He's fantastic at building these intricate stories that have all these different compartments of new secrets to be opened up at later points that are, you know, the seeds are laying earlier in the series, and that is awesome. And it's really not just the way it's convoluted, it's just the way they convolute things that don't need to be, and that's the problem with this movie. And it really kind of infects a lot of different areas throughout the film. As I said, great performances, visually stunning, and written very well, just at times they just don't mesh. And for that reason, and I do feel like people have been a little too harsh on the movie at some points, I want to give it a 7 out of 10. I do really like it, and I wouldn't mind any more to come. I'm definitely still a big fan of the series, but I think it should be viewed as more of a standalone movie, and just think of the original trilogy the way it is, and not have this part of it. And if this wants to build onto something new, hopefully it gets better from here. So let me know your thoughts on the Bourne Legacy below. I liked it, but it definitely could have been so much better. I don't know how he does it. He always looks so young and vivacious in the Bond movies. He even went blonde, and he's a good-looking blonde.